The story begins with the Eastern Shenzhou. The bellicose spirit was on his knees after a fierce battle. His rival flew up in front of him and the bellicose spirit asked him who he was after all. He answered that his name was Galtiz the Supreme, he was the supreme god Galtiz. He invited the warrior spirit to share his ideals and to enter the realm of the supreme gods and become his follower, or he would kill him right now. Galtiz launched his strongest attack on the bellicose spirit. Suddenly someone attacked Galtiz. He was surprised by the speed of the attack. Galtiz didn't have time to react in time. From the impact he fell from the sky to the ground. He lay on the ground and didn't understand how this could have happened. Why was the attack so unexpected? Galtiz stood up and promised to return and seize these lands. The martial spirit sat in a stupor. Are there any warriors so powerful in Eastern Shenzhou? He exclaimed, is there really a world of gods above our world? Great One, you have saved East Shenzhou, your humble servant is grateful to you to the core, dare I ask your name? He replied that he might call him Ling Su. My name is Lin Gu, I came here from another world and now live far away from the world. I came to East Shenzhou about 6 years ago. East Shenzhou is a world where strength is revered and martial arts are the highest value. In a place like that kind of appearance gave me a lot of trouble. I remember as soon as I got here, there was a crowd of men in front of me, devouring me with lustful looks. Not the golden finger, not the old master, and certainly not the charming beauty throwing herself into my arms. But luckily, my new body had a lot of strength and it seems that day by day I am only getting stronger. A few years later there was an invasion of this world. With one palm I crushed the invaders and saved Eastern Shenzhou. I think I have no equal in this world. After that, I escaped from this world and began to live on the Bamboo Mountain, and so, in an instant, several years passed. But one day he had a visitor. A girl happily ran to Lin and said, Sistridi Lin, we've been looking for you for so long. Lin told her that he was tired of telling her that he was not his little sister but his big brother. Qin said, who would call him little brother when he has grown so handsome that you can't even tell him from a girl, and it doesn't matter who you are, seeing such a pretty face, anyone would think you were a girl. The man laughed and said Lin Gu only got even more handsome in their last meeting. Lin said, Uncle Qin, even you make fun of me? Uncle embarrassed and said it was time for them to talk business. Lin Gu wondered, what other business? Qin said that tomorrow, the Taimin current disciples are organizing an event to welcome new students. I was hoping that Sister Lin could keep us company. Lin Gu was so surprised that he choked on his water. He coughed and said, what is she talking about? Qin looked at him with cute eyes and asked Big Brother Lin to go with them to the Taiming stream. He slapped his palm on his face and thought, for coquetry is his weakness. Lin looked at her and said, how fast time passes. Before he could blink, Qin had already become such an adult. Uncle looked and he felt uneasy. After all, Lin Gu is a guy. At this point, Sis asked Uncle that he told him everything Lin should know about the flow of Taiming. Uncle said that the Taiming stream is one of the most famous and promising streams in the world. It is located in the south, in the region of the Sun Mountains. In the battle list of the Taiming is one of the 300 strongest celestial currents. Lin Gu clarified, what is this battle list? Uncle got angry at Lin Gu and said, you don't even know that? Lin Gu replied, I'm a simple man, how am I supposed to know about such things? Uncle began to explain that the battle list was created 10 years ago after the war. Emperor Lin Xiu suppressed the invading invaders. The Celestial Warrior list distributes fighters according to their strength, and the Celestial Treasure list distributes weapons according to strength. The list of Celestial Currents distributes martial arts schools. Lin Gu wondered, War Emperor Ling Xiu. Is it really about me, and when did I manage to become an Emperor of War? Although okay, Emperor of War sounds pretty good, so don't be picky. Lin Gu noticed that there were many changes in the world and it was time for him to come down from the mountains and see for himself. At this moment, the warrior spirit sneezed and thought, does anyone remember me? The next day in the city of Kyun, a charming girl came up on the stage. She was of incredible beauty. When she arrived on the stage, all the people cheered and applauded her. The wives grabbed their husbands by the ears and carried them home. After a while, a man came out and announced the recruitment of students during the Timon Open. Lin Gu stood in the crowd of people and asked his uncle indignantly, was this really the event he was talking about? Uncle replied, it is. The actual participants will take turns to touch this monument. If a person has a talent for martial arts, the monument will react to it. The greater the talent, the brighter it will light up and the more stars will be lit, the highest number being 7 lit stars. If there is no lighted star, then you do not have any martial talent. Lin Gu asked his uncle how he knew so much. Uncle said that he used to participate in a similar event organized by the Timing Current, but I was not enrolled. Suddenly a girl from the stage said the girl with the long hair was next and pointed her finger at Lin Gu. She looked at him and smiled. Lin Gu thought, why was he chosen? He got up on the stage and looked at her. They looked into each other's eyes for a long time. Lin Gu asked her, after he passed the test, could his little sister participate in the test? She said yes. Lin Gu walked over to the monument and thought, how much strength should he pour into it? And would the monument be able to withstand it? Lin Gu restrained his energy and lit 3 stars. All the people were surprised since no one had managed to light more than 2 stars today. Lin Gu thought, who could light 2 stars? He turned around and behind him stood a charming white-haired girl with green eyes. She was able to light 2 stars. She hugged Lin Gu and said that very soon they would both become fellow students and asked her to take care of her. Lin Gu was surprised because this girl smelled so nice and her skin was very soft. He hugged her and looked into her charming green eyes. She was very pleasant. Lin Gu didn't even want to let her go. She told him, you suddenly blushed so much. We are both girls, why be so embarrassed? He said, girls don't do that, can you let me go first? She ran her palm over his chest and said, why are your breasts so flat? Lin Gu was furious because he had well-pumped pecs. He told her in her ear that he was really a guy. She was shocked when she heard those words. She pushed him away and ran away. Lin Gu laughed. Another girl came up to Lin Gu and said that it seemed like no one else had noticed that he was a guy. Even I didn't think there were such guys in the world who could give a head start to girls in their beauty. He replied, are you going to blame me for growing up so handsome? This is not the first time this kind of misunderstanding has happened to me, but I'm used to it. So, do I seem to have passed the test? Of course, a man who can light 3 of the 7 stars of the Big Dipper is considered a genius. My name is Bai Sulin, I am the senior mentor of the Timing Current, and from now on, you will be my junior apprentice. However, as for me, I'd rather call you Sister Apprentice. Even if you object, it won't do you any good. Lin Gu moved away from her and said that the trial is not over, now let my little sister take part. Sulin asked his little sister to come up to her. Qin walked up to the monument, sighed and leaned her hand against the monument. Suddenly the monument shone very brightly, all the people were amazed at its power. As it turned out, Qin was able to light 6 of the 7 stars. My uncle sat on his knees and cried, the heavens have blessed my family, true luck. The number of burning stars determines the upper limit of the warrior's capabilities, 1 star, mediocre level, 2 stars, outstanding level, 3, the genius, for outstanding talent, 5, unique potential, 6, incomparable potential, 7, the highest potential. Since ancient times, those who had 6 stars could be counted on the fingers. People with 7 stars existed only in legends. It's possible that only Lin Shui of the legend had 7 stars, even the martial spirits didn't matter to him. As the strongest in Eastern Shenzhou, he has become a reference point for all warriors of our world. He is also my idol. Lin thought, I am here, your idol is right in front of you. After the ceremony, Uncle, Qin and Lin stood outside the gates of Kyun City. Uncle cried and asked Qin to be careful. If something happened and she couldn't cope, she could rely on brother Lin Gu. They said goodbye to their uncle and set off. The girl exclaimed, let's go. We're going back in the current. Deep into the night they walked through the rattlesnake forest. Sulin told everyone to stop. She said that tonight everyone would be sleeping under the open sky, so everyone should keep their eyes open, and no one should scatter, as there are many fierce beasts in this forest. They sat down around the fire and Qin said to her brother, "Sis Lin, everyone seems to think you are a girl." He said, "I don't care what they think, as long as they don't bother me." She leaned on him and said, "So this secret belongs to just the two of us?" Lin said that Master Sulin knows this too, but she hasn't told anyone about it. She's not very powerful, but her intentions are messy and I don't know what's going on in her head. Suddenly Sulin came up to them and said that Qin is so sticky to him. "Are you two on such good terms?" Qin looked at her form and was very surprised. She compared it to her own and got upset. Lin Gu said to her, "Sis, you shouldn't pay so much attention to it, because you are still growing up." At this moment, among the dark trees, everyone noticed red eyes. It was a pack of wolves. Mistress Sulin asked everyone to stay calm. She noticed that the pupils were very frightened and did not think things through. Sulin drew her blade and told everyone to stay alert and be careful. Qin hugged Lin's arm and asked, "What should they do?" He looked at her and said she had nothing to fear, for he was near. Lin had one plan in mind. He thought only let a pack of wolves get close and he would let them experience something. He activated magic with 2 fingers and a pink cloud appeared in the sky. Suddenly the cloud materialized into a large cannon. People saw it and didn't understand what was even happening now. Lin snapped his fingers and the turret produced a huge blast towards the wolves. The wolves were greatly frightened by the loud explosion and ran back into the forest. Mentor and the students stood there bewildered. Did she say what it was just now? At that moment Elder Min appeared in front of them. The disciples thought he did it. They were surprised at his strength. But the elder didn't understand what had happened, because he had just come and they had already come to love him. He came down from the tree and told everyone not to worry and offered to escort everyone to the Taimin school. 2 hours later, they arrived at the sunny mountain. By morning they were already there. The elder said that everyone should now follow him to the top of the mountain. He said that he reminded them and the disciples could consider it a test of their skills. Suddenly he jumped another rock and went on. Some students were afraid to jump, and some were afraid of heights. They looked at Sulin and admired how deftly and quickly she jumped around the islands. Suddenly Lin heard someone in the crowd calling her the first beauty. He asked again, "Did you call our superior the first beauty of the outer circle?" "Exactly." You could line up people who had confessed their feelings for Mentor Sulin, but no one was successful. There were even people who tried to make her, but then those people got beaten up so that now they are unable to take care of themselves. Lin looked at Sulin and wondered if this Sister Sulin was originally so popular. At this moment Sister Qin jumped onto the island and said they should go. Lin offered to carry her in his arms, but she refused. She confidently jumped from one island to another. Lin was worried about her. But at some point he realized there was nothing to worry about. He noticed the white-haired girl standing on one of the islands, and was afraid of heights, and there was a strong wind. The wind tore off her handkerchief and Lin saw her face. He reached out his hand and offered to help her. She slapped his hand and said she wouldn't take his hand and told him to come to her and help her. Lin came to her. She put her arm around him and begged him not to let her go. Lin said her mouth might lie, but the body will never deceive. Qin saw that Lin was helping the girl and asked Lin to carry her on his back. He took the 2 of them and went to the top of the mountain. The other disciples were amazed that Lin could move so quickly and deftly up and down the islands. 10 minutes later he reached the top of the mountain and there Sulin was waiting for him. She looked at them in surprise and asked, "Did you really carry 2 more people on your back?" Sulin wondered, even if he has a 3-star talent, he hasn't done any hardening before, he shouldn't have that kind of performance, so who is he? Qin said Lin dragged the 2 of them, but that white-haired girl was fed up with everyone. He is very afraid of heights and shouted all the way. She said, "Go to hell. I actually have a name, my name is Mu Yuqing." They entered the palace of Taimin. On the throne sat the elder and next to him was an aide. Everyone looked at them with a look of disdain and amazement. Lin thought, what is wrong with these people? Why do they look like perverts? The man told them that they could start training to increase their cultivation level, they would help with whatever is needed on their path of improvement. From the very threshold we were greeted by two martial emperors, the power of the Taimin current only making us look away. One of the emperors exclaimed, "Have you all seen this? This is the beginning of the rise of the Taimin current. We have to do everything we can to promote its cultivation, so do you all know what is required of you? Give me all your treasures. Don't think I won't find out, for the sake of your future current you should all give it away." The girl held out a golden flower and said it was a 1,000-year-old flower of the true path. In order that the current may raise a warrior of unprecedented strength, I present him with this spiritual fruit. The other guy held out the black dragon crystal. At this time, Sulin, Qin, Mu, and Lin were walking around the territory. All the men were shocked, for beauties walking together at once. Sulin looked at Lin and said, "Since you're walking in our company, everyone assumes you're a girl." A few days later everyone was sitting at the Taimin martial arts arena. Sulin said that the test for the new students was a 3-stage process, and that they should now focus on cultivation. Lin yawned and said he was going to die of boredom, wondering if the martial examination would be any fun at all. Sulin came up to him and said that if he was lazy he wouldn't be able to reach the level of body hardening, no matter how talented you are. At this time a certain guy came up to them and said that Lin and all the others are a bunch of rookies on probation and they can get probation if they get through the fight that will take place in 3 months. He said the elder put him in charge of training their pledge group. "My name is Billy. Earlier, I taught you the basic cultivation technique of the secret of supreme valor. And now I will teach you how you can apply this chi using basic techniques." He demonstrated what this technique is capable of. He said, "Well, the tiger and dragon fist is pretty cool, all the secrets of the technique in this special book." The white-haired girl tried to repeat and learn this technique. She said that this movement is not that difficult. Lin walked up to her and said she had a cute style. She was embarrassed. At this point Lin thought, because this technique is too old and has many mistakes and flaws, we can't delay teaching Qin, we need to think of some way. Billy's teacher left and now everyone has to study on their own with this book. Lin figured out a way to diversify this training. And after 2 hours, all the students were lying on the floor with helplessness. The training became very effective. As it turned out, while no one saw, Lin had changed the contents of this book and everyone trained by Lin's way. That same night Lin was stealthily walking through the courtyards. He entered the room. Sulin asked him, "What was the purpose of this night visit? Do you have business with me? So late deciding to sneak into my room, aren't you afraid I'll throw you off the mountain?" He said he had business to discuss with her right away, "But I saw you like that and it was hard not to dream," at which point Sulin got all choked up and said, "You were really asking me to throw you off the mountain?" He said it was just a joke and that he really had serious things to say to her. Suddenly a girl looked out of the room and asked who it was. Sulin said it's the new student of Linggu. She ran up to him and said her name is Lin Yin. "You're so pretty. The guys must be giving you a hard time, huh?" He just wanted to say that he's really a guy. Suddenly Sulin interrupted him and asked what business brought him here at night. Lin handed her an edited book and told her she would know what he meant. She read a few pages and said it was a tiger and dragon fist book, but the book is edited and there are differences. Lin said he had made some corrections to the book. Yin got angry and said, "How can Lin edit the oldest book that their ancestors left behind?" Lin replied in a calm voice that Sulin would understand everything if she continued to read it. Sulin continued to read this edited book and with each new page she was perplexed, she was shaking with wonder. At one point she put the book down on the table and asked him, "Are these really your corrections? Who would have guessed that you have such high knowledge concerning martial techniques? I will show this book to the head of the current and the elders, I am sure they will be shocked too."